Today we're coming from Berryville, Virginia, a farm called Smith Meadows Farm. It's the home of Forrest Pritchard, who is an author and a full-time farmer. His book is called Gaining Ground, and it's about how he turned his family farm around to be profitable once again. Forrest, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. Welcome.
So give me some history about the farm.
Sure. This farm has been our family since the early 1800s, roughly 1816, and I'm a seventh-generation farmer. My grandfather was the last full-time farmer here, and he farmed from 1915 till 1983. So farm here, it kind of straddles state lines. We go from Virginia into West Virginia, but we're sitting here in Clark County, Virginia, right outside of Berryville. That's where we are today. And our farm, give or take, comprises 500 acres. Of course, we're a grass farm here, so everything that you see in the background and everything you'll be seeing here later is all pasture-based.
And what was farmed here originally?
Right, well, Clark County and the northern Shenandoah Valley is very famous for its wheat crops. All through the 1800s, in the Civil War, for example, the Shenandoah Valley was really the breadbasket of America for a while before expansion really moved to the center of the country. So there was wheat that was grown here. In the mid part of the 20th century, apples were very famous. Winchester was known as the apple capital of the world in the 50s and 60s. Of course, all during that time, livestock has been a real component of our agricultural heritage here. Sheep, cattle, of course, every farm wouldn't be a farm without some chickens. So we try to maintain some of those traditions for sure.
Your book talks about saving your family farm and turning it around, but there had to be a certain point. What was the breaking point for you that said, this is it, I'm going to save this farm and turn it around one way or another?
Well, any farmer that's watching this show knows that a family farm's never saved. It's a journey. So, that title is meant to connote to the world of people who aren't farmers, to get a sense of what we were trying to accomplish. But there was a specific turning point when I got out of college in 1996. I had graduated with degrees in English and geology from Virginia State School. And when you go to college, at least 20 years ago, you're not supposed to be a farmer. Okay, you're supposed to go out and get a haircut and a real job and put out your resume and those things. And I was very stubborn. I wanted to maintain this tradition of our heritage and what my grandfather had accomplished. And so I just decided right out of college I was going to try to farm. And the real turning point was our very first year. We did everything the way we were supposed to. We planted corn, we planted soybeans, we followed all the right protocols. And our first year, when we went to open our envelope to get our check, and of course this was all commodity. You just went down the road and you get a check in the mail. That's how it happens. After we sorted out our profit, we made $18.16. That was our net profit for the year. Of a year's worth of work was right around $18. And that's either going to make you do what they say, go out and get a job, or really make you reassess what direction you're going to go in.
The book also talks about what you went through, and I understand there's a lot of humorous stories in there. Could you share a couple of those stories with us?
So yeah, definitely humor plays a big part. There's if you pick up the book, there's going to be firewood deliveries to ornery old ladies and goats in pickup trucks and falling down in chicken manure and basically Three Stooges kinds of elements. That goes along with daily farm life. You're out there doing this stuff and it's temporarily frustrating in the moment, and then you get to the end of the day and you look back on it, you're like, yeah, objectively that was kind of funny.
So your journey started around 1996. How long before you were profitable?
Well, when I started in 96, that first year was devoted to, the way we were supposed to do things, the way everybody else around here does things. You plant corn, you plant soybeans, you plant your legume followed by your grass kind of thing, and you rotate and you go about your business. Well, for us, that was worth about $20. So that next year, I did anything I could to try and get our farm back on track. I sold firewood, I sold hay, I sold, if anybody's been to the Shenandoah Park down near Front Royal, the straw that was used to seed all the grass down there came from our farm. Okay, we sold truckloads of straw down there. I was going to run through a brick wall if I had to save our place. When you're selling firewood and you're selling hay, there was something about it. I really wanted to be selling food. I wanted to be, as a farmer, I wanted to be growing things. that people could be eating.
So how did you end up making a profit?
Well, that's a lot of where the humor in the story of the book comes in, because with hindsight being 2020 now, what made a lot of sense to me in 1996, 1997, as we were starting this journey, we came to discover that the world just wasn't ready for us. Okay. And now where you go to a restaurant where everything is farm to table and you've got a Whole Foods, within driving distance, or every little town has a farmer's market, that just wasn't the way. It's easy to forget that even 15, 20 years ago, it was not that way.
So when you were starting out, did you just go to the one farmer's market?
So we've always had local has always made sense to us. Okay, we are a local farm, and we've got enough local families and folks in our town that should be able to support a 500-acre farm like ourselves. But again, going back to it, the world wasn't quite ready for direct marketing. It wasn't quite ready for Smith Meadows at that time. So we did start out at Berryville. Berryville did have a farmer's market at that point. And when we went to expand, we looked very locally. We looked at Charlestown, West Virginia. We looked at Middleburg, Virginia, Leesburg, some of these markets. And the intersection of our ambitions and dreams versus the economic reality didn't quite match up in the late 90s, for sure. So as much as we showed up, we brought good product, we smiled, we had our caps on straight, it just didn't quite matter if the town didn't turn out and shop.
So how has that changed recently?
Yeah, so for example, when we were doing Berryville farmers markets in the late 1990s, it was not unusual for us to bring home. And keep in mind, this is what, we were coming there with fresh eggs, beef by the pound, pork sausages. These weren't things, you didn't have to come and buy half a cow. We were trying to make it as easy as possible. So we had it in coolers, and if you wanted a pound of bacon, here's your pound of bacon, and
right.
Take some money and have a nice day, kind of thing. So it wasn't any great leap of faith for folks. So how it's changed, for example, when we stopped doing the Berryville Farmers Market in 1999 because we could not make a go of it economically, it wasn't unusual for us to make $85, $90 at that market. We came back this year, and 2013, right out of the gate, we were doing $800, $900, $1,000 at Berryville.
Wow.
It's a tremendous difference.
Do you attribute a lot of your success to the local food movement?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think there's a real hunger, a real passion for folks that want to support their farmers. They want to support them for a number of reasons, not just because it makes them feel good, but because there's authenticity to it, there's transparency in their food. They want to make sure that the food that they're eating has a history, and they can go actually see how it's grown. They want a relationship with their farmer to be able to understand the growing practices, the humane treatment of animals, the slaughtering practices, things like that. So yeah, a lot of this stuff just in the past 10 years has just really gotten a lot of traction.
So they really weren't ready for you before, but they are now.
Well, it's burgeoning. Don't make any mistake. I'm not a pie in the sky kind of guy. Farmers market. It's only 1 in 10 people shop at farmers market once a year. Okay, which is pretty statistically irrelevant if you're a big guy. Okay, if you're dependent on nationwide trucking systems and warehouses in St. Louis that are however many 100,000 square feet or whatever. But for a small farm like ours, okay, and 500 acres might sound like a big farm. Okay, it's really all relative. 500 acres is a nice, sustainable production farm for us. It makes a huge difference if somebody comes and spends an extra $20 with us. 10 years ago, somebody coming and buying an extra couple pounds of ground beef was a difference of me being able to pay my bills that week, or not, frankly.
So what was your biggest hurdle?
My biggest hurdle was probably my own personal energy level. Okay, I wanted to be super farmer. I wanted to be that guy that could go at it 7 days a week and just grow all the food that the world needed. And it was probably the realization that one person can only do so much. One farmer, if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to be any good for anybody.
What's been the biggest thing you've learned through all of this process?
Customer appreciation, customer gratitude on my part. Okay, when my grandfather farmed for 65, 70 years, he was a commodity farmer, okay, which meant he put apples on a truck, he put corn on a truck, he put cattle on a truck, he put cows on a truck, and they went down the road and they disappeared. And 3 or 4 days later, he got a check in the mail. Okay, what happened to that food? He never really knew. It wasn't, with all due respect, it probably wasn't that important to him, but he had more important stuff to do. He had to like plant his next crop or harvest his next apples, and the important thing was he got the proper paycheck for it, and he was able to do that for several decades, where we weren't, and we had to transform our farm. Okay, what worked for him and his generation was not going to work for us, certainly not on the scale that we have here. So it's having that back and forth, that relationship with a customer where they really value what we have, and the gratitude that I have to them, to have them reliably show up at farmers market, to come out and support our farm store, to tell their friends like, this is really this story. You know, the story of this food isn't just great; it tastes great too. You know.
So, do you have kids?
I do. I've got an 8-year-old son.
So what's his thoughts on farming? Does he help?
Oh yeah, no, he's very much interested in becoming a farmer, and I think that's kind of one of the greatest responsibilities, or you know, kind of the onus on farmers themselves, is to create a farm, create an environment that kids want to participate in. I mean, we're nothing as a society without a next generation of farmers. Okay, and for me, I'm 39 years old. I come from kind of a missing generation of farmers. Never before there's always been a chain of farmers in our country. And for my generation, it just disappeared. And nobody really noticed, I think, for a while, because we had all these like hidden efficiencies and mechanization and sprays and chemicals and all these things. And so we could kind of smoke screen it for a while. But the fact is the average age of farmers in this country now is 60 years old.
Right.
Okay, and some of those folks are, by necessity, are going to need to retire. And they've earned it. So we need to have this next generation of folks coming along, and for my 8-year-old, he's very interested in being a farmer just like Dad. So I'm going to try and keep him on that path for sure, and let him have a choice when it comes down to it. But let it be like a positive choice. Let it be a choice he feels passionate about.
That he doesn't feel like he has to just to keep the family farm going.
Right. Let it be something that's intellectually challenging, that requires his ingenuity and his innovation. Let him pour some artistic spirit into the farm.
Your book is called Gaining Ground. Where can we find the book?
Right. So if you want to do the exact opposite of everything we talked about today and not shop local, you of course can go where everybody shops, which is Amazon. Check out the reviews. It's been quite a fun ride. Of course, there's indiebound.com as well, which basically links you to your most local bookstore that will ship the book to you. So there's local bookstores, independent, surprising in this day and age that they still exist, that will take your order and put it in the mail to you. Of course, you can also go to our website, smithmeadows.com, and link to both of those things right there. So last but not least, if you come by any of our farmers markets, and we do 7 farmers markets year-round in this area, you'll find it at our farmers market stands as well. So
great. Well, Forrest, thank you so much for having us out today. It's been a lot of fun.
My pleasure.
We'll be right back.